Jay here for Stretford Paddock. That's Joe Smith. This is Paddock Live. No, it's not. It's Transfers Live.
Of course.
Because we're in the middle of transfer season. It's the January transfer window. I say we're in the middle. We're actually near the end of it. Yeah. So it's hotting up. It's all getting very excited.
So hot.
Manchester United have made a signing. Patrick Dorgu.
Ish.
Well, we've had a here we go.
Yeah, he's on the way.
That's as good as a signing, really, isn't it? Sort of. Could there be any more? That's what we're going to be getting into. So we're going to be chatting about all the links with Manchester United's incomings, also some outgoings as well. So make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. Right. What's first?
Well,
first
there's all sorts to go through today, isn't there?
Right, go on.
We're going to have the Ethan's graphics with the little puns on it. We'll rate them as we go along.
Yeah.
We've got a bit of Tel stuff. We've got a new coach at Man United. We've got all sorts to go through.
I hate this story.
Well, we're not going to get to that yet. We'll get to that in a minute. You'll enjoy that. What we got first, guys? What we got first? Luke Shaw's back in training as well. But before that, look at this. I'll tell you honestly, I will love it if we sign him. Little Kevin Keegan piece.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
I'll tell you honestly, I will love it if sign him. I think it's quite good.
It's not bad, is it?
It's all right. It's good. And I like the fact that that's is it Ethan that's done this?
Well, Ben made it, I recommend it.
Yeah.
It's Ethan's idea.
So that's quite good there, because that was sort of the closest you've ever come to winning a title in your history. And you're willing to laugh at it. Laugh at the fact mock at the fact you threw away a 12-point lead and you managed to have a meltdown and Manchester United won the title and you didn't.
And you've actually defaced his image there as well.
You've actually King Kev, as you lot call him.
Yeah.
You've
desecrated.
So I'm amazed. I'm proud of you.
It's actually really good, that.
It is really good.
And I like how it looks in that big, chubby, clubbed, beringed hand. It's forever burned into everyone's minds, isn't it?
Is that Keegan's hand?
That's Keegan's hand, yeah.
Right, okay.
He's got the jumper on and everything, look.
That's really good, that.
It's really good, that.
Yeah.
And he's put the headphones on Tel, which I like as well.
Yeah.
That's really good. Well done, Ethan.
Yeah.
And Ben for producing it. Lovely. Man United are interested in a potential move for Bayern forward Mathys Tel, should the 19-year-old be available on loan. This is according to David Ornstein, yeah? The angel on top of the Christmas tree. This guy means business. United are not actively progressing the situation while they focus on departures, but signing Tel on a temporary basis carries an appeal at Old Trafford. Contact so far has been with Tel's representatives rather than with Bayern. There would need to be further outgoings for any move to go forward. Tel joined Bayern from Rennes in the summer of 2022 and has made 82 appearances for the club, registering 16 goals and 7 assists. It does say that, 19 years old, very good, skillful, kind of good dribbler, good at creating things for others. He's also got a decent shot on him as well. He's not a million miles away from the Garnacho mould, but the crucial difference is he presses and works a little bit harder, I would say. And also, this is the problem, is 60 million in a sale is worth far more than 60 million in a purchase. And I'm not saying that this would be a loan, so obviously we wouldn't even have to worry about that. But we might find ourselves in a position where we sell Garnacho, replace him for a similar player that's maybe not even as good, but we've come out with profit on that deal. So what do you make of Mathys Tel?
Yeah, from what I've seen, his numbers are okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's only a kid and he's only young. I know this is temporary, and it's like the sort of logical thinking around a loan move has been get an experienced player in, get someone in. If it's going to be for just 5 or 6 months or whatever, or 4 months, then just get someone in who's probably in the 30s and they can come in for a few months to do a job. The trouble is, anyone who's doing that is probably not available. There isn't an obvious one for me. You can go out there and get an experienced striker. There isn't an Edinson Cavani who's out of contract, just sat there waiting for someone to give him a bell. That isn't happening. So maybe you do have to go for a younger player. And if someone like Tel comes in, does well, then hopefully he will, if we get him, then maybe you can try and make it a permanent move. I mean, this has sort of come out of left field a little bit. I mean, the last couple of days. 3 days ago, no one was talking about this. Well, and now it feels like everyone is.
It came off the back of him basically saying, or it being reported, that Tel has decided to leave in January if he can.
Yeah.
I think he's frustrated with the lack of game time. I think last season he was much more involved than he has been this season under Vincent Kompany. He's not really playing very often. It's a lot of substitute appearances and minimal game time for him. So I think it's like 12 appearances or something like that this season, with, I believe, no goals, 1 assist, or the other way around. So he's been very much a bit part player, and I think he wants to go out and get more experience. The only problem is, like you said, if it's a loan, unless there's an option to buy in there, what does having a young, unproven, inexperienced player help United?
Yeah.
Because the loan is like you get someone in whose skill set right now is good enough to improve you, but maybe doesn't have the long-term prospects because of their age. What we're getting here is a guy whose skill set isn't there right now, but also, a guy whose skill set isn't there right now, and we never get the long-term prospect because it's only a loan. So unless there's an option to buy, for me, I don't think he's an improvement on what we've got. It's just plugging a gap if Garnacho leaves. So I think he's a good player, and if we could sign him on a permanent, there could be a really good player in there. But him as a player in January 2025 isn't that impressive. But maybe it will happen, and maybe he'll prove me wrong. Because 16 goals, 7 assists isn't too bad in 82 appearances, but it's not, lightning numbers, is it?
It almost feels, for a teenager, you can't really make much sense of those numbers.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very, very difficult. Not everyone is a Michael Owen type or even an Erling Haaland type or someone who scores, or Wayne Rooney obviously is the benchmark, where by the age of 18, 19, they're almost a finished article. You're almost looking at them going, wow, he's world class. Yeah. You can tell straight away. A lot of players, like even most strikers, early to mid-20s, they rarely get going. So at 19 years old, those numbers, while they're not amazing, I bet you there's a lot. Fine. Yeah, they're fine. Yeah. There's a lot of strikers who've gone on to. I bet Harry Kane's numbers at 19 weren't standing up to that.
I bet Ronaldo's weren't.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to be next Harry Kane, but do you know what I mean? It's very, very difficult to tell what's going on. Pardon the pun. I'm trying to avoid saying it, but I can't help myself.
Yeah.
So, look, it feels a bit like we need someone to come in. If he comes in and there's an option to buy, you might go, okay, this could be an exciting move. The only downside is you're literally getting in a player, one of the few players out there who's got fewer goals than our strikers.
Yeah,
that's what he's bringing at the moment to Manchester United. That is a concern.
Yeah.
If you're stood there watching him in a few weeks and he looks a bit off the pace, and you're like, Christ, we've gone from having 2 strikers out to having 3. That's when you get the issue. So the big question is it better to have him as an option than to just have no one?
Yeah, and I think that's the situation we find ourselves in, where we might sell Garnacho for PSR reasons, and then we replace him with someone who is right now of a similar level, who hasn't actually been playing, who's probably a bit kind of off the pace, like you said, who might take 2 months to get used to the Premier League, and by that time, he's basically back at Bayern. I think if there's a long-term option, it makes some sense, and otherwise, maybe it still makes a little bit of sense, but it's just a bit of I don't love this idea of selling Garnacho to bring him in on loan and then losing him at the end of the season, and then you have to, do a massive deal to kind of fix it all. So we'll have to wait and see. He is a very exciting player, though. That is worth mentioning. He's very, very talented, and someone that in 4 or 5 years could be a top forward in Europe. I'm not doubting his potential, but the problem is it is potential right now. So
let us know what you think. Just loading the people in the chat. Scotty Motti, well, it's not Scotty Motti, is it? It'll be Scotty. Them 82 appearances weren't for 90 minutes per game. Need some context there, lads. Like the context that we just gave.
Done, yeah.
Oh, honestly, he's been drinking. Carl Thomas says, Bayern aren't daft.
You're right.
There'll be a buyback clause in case he turns into a world beater. We'd be used to develop him. Forget loans, says Ush Mush. Rather have a Gallo, says Chris Griffiths. I think that's a bit harsh. I do too much.
He is very good.
Tell a dream signing if we can get him permanently. So,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, which is what you were saying, innit? If it makes sense, if there's at least an option to get him on a permanent move. Otherwise, it feels like, come and get a bit of experience here, learn your craft, not do much for us, and at the end of it, you can go to a different club and do really well for them.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I doubt this is going to happen, mate.
Yeah.
Personally. I know Ornstein knows his stuff, but he's not saying it's going to happen, is it?
No.
He's saying we're interested.
We're interested, yeah.
So I'm a bit sceptical whether we're going to do any more business. I'd love to see something happen because we obviously need reinforcements.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted. As always, what's the next one?
What we got next?
Ooh, Aiden, do you know what you're worth? Ooh, heaven is the best on turf.
I really like that.
I do like Belinda Carlisle, I'm not going to lie. So you have won me over slightly with that one.
Sing it properly then.
Ooh, Aiden, do you know what you're worth? Ooh, heaven is the best on turf.
It's actually really good, that,
They say.
It's actually, do you know what? That's really good.
Do you know what? It is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is actually. Like, I did not have that on my pun bingo that you two would come out of a Belinda Carlisle pun.
They say from Arsenal, Cheeto comes first.
Yeah, play his own turn. Yes,
this is really good.
It's got legs. This
has got.
Do you know
legs.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Listen,
this is very good.
I'm going to have a go at this on Sunday in the Stretford end.
See if you can get it going.
Yeah, I will.
I already know if you can.
Right, lads, everyone.
Right,
You've got your song sheets. 1, 2. I want to. Ooh, Aiden, do you know what you're worth? Ooh, heaven is the best. All right, stop throwing things.
I haven't even got to the end yet. You might like the end.
No, I won't leave. Right, go on, talk us through this.
United have have United...
I know you're all excited about the Belinda Carlisle
song.
pun.
Right. It's got me going.
Take a breath.
High breath.
Go on.
United have reached a full agreement for another promising Arsenal youngster in Aiden Heaven. United signing...
No,
Don't you
start
laugh
again.
because you've made it
Start
worse.
again. Go on. Forget about the pun and the song.
I can't.
I know it's
I'm rattling through my mind
Yeah.
like a marble in a pickle jar. United signed striker Chido Obi Martin from the Gunners in October, and the 17-year-old has already impressed in the club's FA Youth Cup campaign. Supposedly, by the way, Chido was fantastic in the performance tonight as well. Finn was tweeting about him, Ronaldo was tweeting about him. Not that that's part of this story. Now, United are set to confirm the signing of defender Aiden Heaven. Academy Scoop posted on X yesterday. Exclusive, Manchester United have reached a full agreement to sign Arsenal defender Aiden Heaven, beating Barcelona and Eintracht Frankfurt to the 18-year-old signature. Heaven is considered a first-team signing and will provide competition/cover for Lisandro Martinez. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well done to Finn. I said this to him yesterday. We had him on Academy Review. He worked hard on this story. He messaged me the other night and he was crossing the T's and dotting the I's on it. He didn't go early with it. He said, I'm just getting some certain things clarified with the club, but just to give you a heads up, it looks like this is happening.
Yeah.
And he even knew that Barcelona had made a late bid for him, late attempt to get him, I should say. So you got to give the kid his props. And chatting to Finn, I didn't know anything about him. I forgot he was the kid that played against us in pre-season. That's how much I remembered or knew about him. But Finn's really chuffed about it. Says that, like it says here, could be a decent cover for Lisandro Martinez. Another good young player coming into Manchester United. You look at it now, you've got Chido, who's come in. Chido Obi, you've got Heaven, you've also got Seka Kone, who's come in as well, who's another player not ready for the first team yet. I don't think there's any misconceptions there, but one for the future. You've also got Leone, who we've signed, who's going to come in the summer. Again, 17 years old, looks to be one for the future as well. They're going to assess him in the summer, see where his levels are at. He'll either go back out on loan or he'll be in around the first team. Hopefully, playing in the first team, but if not, maybe a squad player. So it does feel like we would sort of trying to get these signings in, these youngsters in. And look, I like this idea. I like this sort of philosophy, if you will, because we know we're a bit scuppered in terms of how much we can spend. We can't go out and spend 250 million in the summer. These players are obviously well thought of, because if you ever listen or watch, I know no one likes to do it, but speak to Arsenal fans, they were raving about Chido Obi. I know they've all turned on him now and said he weren't that good anyway.
He's never any good,
They never rated him, but they did. They were raving about this kid. So there's something in it. Do you know what I mean? And we, the fact that United, despite all our issues, and we have got a few, are still able to be attractive enough for a young player and his family to think, this is a good move for us.
Part of it's because
it's a good look.
You've actually got a chance. Like, I know obviously everyone is talking now about this kind of production conveyor belt of getting young talent in for very cheap, and just to clarify, I believe he'll be coming in on a free. United might have to pay a small compensation fee to Arsenal just because of the nature of these kind of academy players, but we're not paying like millions and millions for him. It's a free deal with some compensation. And I know a lot of people have become obsessed with this conveyor belt of bringing players like him in and selling them on FFP, pure profit and all that stuff. But like you said, United aren't the best team in the country at the moment. One of the reasons that players like Heaven have come to United or want to come to United is because you actually might play for us. Like, look at Toby Collier at the minute, look at Kobe Mainoo, look at Garnacho. I know Garnacho, ironically might be being sold now.
But even that's like...
He still played 100-odd games
and
for
even
Manchester
that,
United.
I'm not saying it's a good thing he gets sold, but at the age of 20, he could be on the verge of a £60 million move to the team that are top of Serie A.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty amazing. Yeah. Even if you're looking at it from a point of view of going to United, you go, okay, in a few years, I could get another move if I didn't want to stay at United, or if an offer came in that I really liked, and I could make a lot of money and go to a different club and go abroad or whatever. So even that, in a perverse way, might be attractive to some youngsters.
And in the meantime, you might have actually played some games.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at a lot of the other sort of top teams, you are less likely to do that. Like, you aren't always going to get a chance at City or at Arsenal or, you know, especially in terms of having an actual career in the first team. I know they've got Saka, but it's very few and far between, especially Man City. It's Foden, and now Rico Lewis is kind of in that conversation, but other than that...
Mate, they've been downing off Foden for 5 years now,
Foden's
6 years,
been
whatever.
Their, like, academy kid. He's 26.
Yeah.
It's been almost a decade of him being brought through, so you actually might play some games at United, and I think that's a big thing for young players.
No, definitely. I've been watching some clips yesterday. Looks very good on the ball, very good at carrying it. I think defensively there's still some, I won't say issues, I think that's a bit too harsh, but, you know, there's still a lot to learn there.
Yeah.
But definitely can get some minutes and gives us another option. And you're going into the next season, if you've got Martinez, you've got Lenny Yoro, you've got De Ligt, you've got Maguire, who looks like he's going to stay as well.
Yeah.
You've got Heaven. You've got options there, haven't you?
Yeah.
All bringing a certain different set of skills, but good enough to play for Manchester United. It's an exciting time in terms of what's going on with the academy and the youngsters. It really is. Wish I could say the same for the first team.
Well, let's move on.
Just before we move on, let's get some comments. Let us know what you think about Heaven. I mean, a lot of people say, Ross Murphy says yes, love it. I think he's talking about the pun. Heaven Souls is back-to-back bangers.
Yeah, really good stuff so far tonight.
Yeah.
Ethan's high on a combination of katsu curry wraps and double cheeseburgers. He's gone full Hunter S. Thompson or whatever his name is, and he's just going. Is it Hunter S. Thompson?
The writer
who used to
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, who just used to have like the most debaucherous meals of all time.
Yeah, probably.
Just like bags of Coke, cigarettes and cheese.
Yeah, and absinthe for brekkie.
Yeah, Ethan's just going mad behind the camera, off his tits.
Is he?
Yeah.
Fair play to you. Scotty says that's decent on the pun as well.
Yes.
So there you go. You've got everyone's seal of approval there. Okay. Right, let's move on to the next one.
What we got next? Come on. Just a show back in the side and a bit off the top. That is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant, that. And the image is really well done again. That's fantastic, that.
How did we find the
so
biggest
good.
geek ever and then find the other one to go and work with him
So
as well?
good.
Like,
Just a shot back in the side
amazing.
and a bit off the top. That's really good, that.
I love the fact that this is what is this? This is the barber's outfit.
That's the barber outfit.
Yeah, I love that. Like,
that's really good. With his
just
little,
show back in the side and a bit off the top.
little thinning scissors. I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It's really good.
It's up there with corn on the cobby.
Show back in the side and a bit off the top. I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, you've done well.
Well done, lads.
Tonight has been probably your best ever so far.
So far, we've still got stories to go.
Yeah, you've still got time to ruin it. But go on.
Let's go through it. Luke Shaw returned to group training at Carrington before United's trip to Bucharest to take on FCSB. Shaw is back on the grass. Shaw is back on the grass since early December. What? I'm going to reword that. Shaw is back on the grass for the first time since early December when he suffered a small setback before we played Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. Shaw had only just returned to contention after a long spell on the sidelines, appearing as a substitute in Ruben Amorim's first 3 matches in charge. Last week, Amorim said he's going to be fit to train with the team. Then we have to start with more minutes. We do not have a lot of time to train. We have to put some exercises in 10 minutes, and then he has to make extra work to improve his fitness. I don't know when he'll play. It's 2 weeks to start training before I think about putting him in the squad for some minutes. That's obviously straight from Ruben Amorim there. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at a tweet of Madam McCullough. Quote tweet of Shaw in training.
Yeah.
Guess what Macca says?
I've seen it. Go on.
Go on. Are England playing next week?
Aye. Done you. Absolutely
Yeah,
done you.
done you there,
The
Shawry
memes
boy.
have been very good though, haven't they? Literally, here we go on Dorgu coming in, and the next day Luke Shaw's fit again. I love that. He's barely played for like 7 months. What was it, April he last had a run of games? Almost a year he's been out. And then we sign another left back and he gives it the old Alex Tellers treatment. I'm fit, lads.
Yeah.
Oh, what about me? I can play. Yeah,
It is
all right.
mental how he always seems to get motivated when there's someone to take his place. Like Malacia, Alex Tellers, Brandon Williams.
Yeah.
Like it's been a constant theme throughout his time at Manchester United that he's only fit or up for it when he's got someone breathing down his neck, and it does sort of fit that narrative again.
I almost forget he's a Man United player now. Like I don't even think of him like I can't. When I imagine him training, or you imagine the press conferences, or like in the dress, you know, like you have like flashes of what it might look like as you're thinking it through scenarios. I don't even think of him in those thoughts anymore. Like,
Do you not go on TikTok? He's on there a bit.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
That's the only time I think I've spoken about him on the news in the last 2 months, is when he did a TikTok about your mum being on benefits or something. Yeah. It is a bit of a
It's always a good look, that as well, isn't it? When multimillionaires are slagging people off for being poor. I know it's a song lyric, but fucking hell, ask to do a different one. It's literally a party full of about 50 people, and he gets the one where he's taking the piss out of people on benefits. Jesus Christ.
I loved it. I'll be honest with you. I said it I weren't really bothered.
No, I'm not really, but come on.
I didn't care. Well, some of the outrage made me laugh. Like the absolute fume towards him was like, "What? You're on benefits, mate." It's like, what? Not.
To be fair, he is being paid to not work.
Yeah, exactly.
So in a sense, he's on the most benefits
universal credit
ever been on. Yeah, the 200 grand a week universal credit that Man United gives to its employees. Jesus Christ. Very
good puns there.
Yeah, really good. In all honesty, I'm glad he's back in the squad. Again, I say this with every Man United player. If he's under contract at Man United, he may well leave at the end of the season, whatever. I want him to be fit and playing his best for Manchester United. And whether we like it or not, he is one of the best technical footballers in the squad. So if he can get fit and stay fit between now and the end of the season, we have a better chance of earning more points than we do without him. So let's just hope he can get back and stay fit. I just don't think he will. But if he can, great.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Fair comment.
Right, what we got last up then? Go on.
Get him tomorrow, actually get him now.
What's that?
Right, I'm guessing this guy's name is Mara. Right. So, get him tomorrow, actually get him now.
I can't like that as well, you know. It's not all up to the other standard, but it's all right. They've not, completely bottled it. Do you know what I mean? They've not tripped over on the 10-metre line. They've stumbled across. The others have caught up a little bit. Yeah. I think they've still got the goal here.
What's going on here? Explain this story to me. Why have we got a picture of Paul McCartney on
That's not Paul McCartney. How dare you?
What's going on here?
That's absolutely...
What has this got to do with Manchester United?
Looks like...
this better be someone trying to buy the club. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to be a bit disconcerted.
You know what it looks like there? That image is like, we used an AI to generate the average person at a David Lloyd fitness suite.
Yeah.
He looks so David Lloyd, it's unbelievable, doesn't he?
He looks like someone whose Facebook status says "still rocking."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yacht rock master.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He looks like that
still
kind
rocking.
of guy.
I like him.
Yeah.
Right, let's
read
read
well, who is he?
I don't know, I like him.
Let's find out.
United have hired renowned athletics coach Harry Mara to help improve the players' fitness and running technique. The 78-year-old American, come on, is considered one of the outstanding coaches in the history of track and field, and is best known for helping decathlete Ashton Eaton, to 2 Olympic gold medals. He also coached Brain Thiessen. What the fuck is going on?
Is this a film?
Brian, sorry, not Brain.
He also coached Brian Thiessen.
Brian Thiessen, Eaton's wife, who is a world and Olympic medalist in heptathlon. Interesting, I wonder how they met. United have brought in Mara on a short-term basis, thought to be only a matter of weeks. Part of his remit will be to hone the players' running mechanics as they try to keep up with Amrim's demands.
Did these people win these medals in 1954?
Well, he's 78 years old, so his first Olympics will have been, I think, what's the Jesse Owens one?
Did he spit in Hitler's face in the 1936
He was there
Olympics?
When Hitler was rocking back and forth in the stands.
Absolutely smacks out of his head.
He was
He coached Jesse Owens to absolutely stick it to the Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
This is crazy, isn't it? We've got a 78-year-old American track and field coach to come in to teach footballers how to run.
Like,
this is proper Van Gaal stuff. I like this.
I feel like we always seem to find another way to increase the banter awareness of the club. Can you imagine if this was the Scousers or City or Leeds now? Yeah. We'd be pissing our sides that they've got a 78-year-old who's helped, no disrespect to them, because they've obviously reached the pinnacle of their particular sport, but heptathletes we've never heard of win gold medals, and it's like we're bringing in him to what? Tell Luke Shaw to run more? Like, what's going on, man? It does feel a bit daft.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What I love as well is do you know when you think about what a coach's job is?
Yeah.
So Ruben Amorim comes into Manchester United and goes, I want to take these players who are in theory, what you hope is, they're 8 out of 10 at everything, and I'm going to make them 10 out of 10. That should be what Ruben Amorim's been brought in to do.
Yeah.
Just top him up. Instead of that, he's come in and gone, I need to teach him new tactics, right? Okay, that's fair enough. That's part of your job. And then he's gone, actually, some of these players, I need to kind of change their work ethic a little bit. Okay, that's the next sort of level down. When you think of the pyramid of like professional football, we have literally got to the point now where Ruben Amorim is teaching footballers to run. It doesn't get more damning than that for me. Literally, other than Ruben Amorim is going to teach, he's got a renowned breath specialist to teach his players how to stay alive. Like, what the he's literally teaching them how to run, Jay. Like, teaching the players how to walk. Ruben Amorim doesn't trust his players to move their legs properly. This is so crushing for these players, you know. Can you imagine that?
Do you reckon this guy's coming with like a skipping rope and a medicine ball?
Yeah,
just
like someone who's recovering from a really bad horse riding incident.
Do you know what I mean?
And they're having to learn to run again. What the fuck is this? You can't even run! We don't know how to run, Jay.
Do you know what I mean?
Have you ever heard of this?
This is when I was storming the beaches at Normandy. This is what I did.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Look
come
at
on,
him.
man.
He's so cool, by the way.
He is cool.
Look how good
but
he
he's
is.
78, Joe.
So,
He's,
Jay.
You've got, you know what I mean?
Do you know
You've
what
got
he'd tell you?
Alejandro Garnacho
Yes.
getting told off someone old enough to be his great granddad how to run. Do
you know what he'd tell you if you said that?
You know he's going on at my
He'd
football
say,
club.
The body ain't changed in 78 years, baby.
Yeah, I know, but I can just imagine them all like whispering to each other, like, "What the fuck?
What's going on here?"
Do you know what I mean?
And I'll say this.
I'm not
actually.
having a dig at him because it's great for him that he's doing this, and you know what I mean. Fair play to the
Still
guy.
rocking.
He's obviously still rocking. He's helped fucking bright. He's helped what's his name? Aston Eaton's wife clear up in the Taflon.
Yeah.
He knows his onions. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
having a dig at him. It's just slightly disconcerting. We're turning to almost octogenarians to help get us out of our mess that we're in. Like, what is going on, man? Seriously.
I think this is the best thing we've ever done. I think this is brilliant. I think this is honestly fantastic.
This is the final piece of the puzzle.
This is the sporting equivalent of a life support machine, isn't it? It doesn't get more fundamentally challenging than this.
Right.
Teaching the players how to actually move.
I mean,
This is it, isn't it? How shit does Amorim think this squad is? That he's brought in this 80-year-old bloke to teach them how to put one leg
do you
in front of
think
the
he's
other?
actually like
Incredible, this.
He's that annoyed he's actually trolling him a bit?
I think he is.
I think he's like, right, do you remember that guy we met? Which one? That one at 78?
Yeah.
The one that won them medals and that.
Yeah.
Jamie. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's have a laugh.
It's
Like, not
ridiculous.
at him, at the players.
Yeah.
Like, this is how bad it's got. I've got 78-year-olds to tell you how to fucking run because you're that lazy and shit and thick.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I bet he's
Honestly.
faster than half our team.
I was about to say.
I bet,
No.
yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put him in a race. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet he'll come, right, if he
He won't
raced
come
the
last.
squad, he'd come like 12th.
Yeah, he would, yeah. He would. And everyone who finished ahead of him would be so happy. They'd all be high-fiving each other, like going mad about it. Honestly. And also, here's another thing, actually. I've said this to you before. America, as an American, right? America is one of the only countries on Earth, maybe the only one, actually, where it's socially acceptable on social media, person to person, to completely disregard their footballing opinion simply because of the country that they're from. That happens all the time with Americans. And I know people do it kind of like sneakily about other countries and stuff, but it's not acceptable. Whereas if you go, this American soccer or whatever, everyone will be like, yeah, he probably knows fuck all.
Yeah.
It's weird that people really don't respect Americans' football.
Who was the guy that
opinion
managed
at all. And
Fulham?
I think it's a bit bollocks.
Bradley.
to
Was
this.
it Bradley?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Was it Bob Bradley?
Bob Bradley.
Yeah.
And he got pelters, didn't he?
Yeah.
Remember when he
Jesse
gave that
Marshall's the
interview when he
same.
said about road games instead
Yeah.
of away games? And it was like, this dickhead
Yeah.
said road games, that's not even a thing.
Yeah.
Like, obviously everyone knew what he meant, and he knew what he meant. It wasn't that deep, and he got absolutely hammered. It was the guy we had who was listening to instructions from Moscow.
What was it? His name? Merry Christmas.
Chris Armas.
Chris
yeah.
Armas, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had him, didn't we? And all right, his CV weren't the best, but the fact he was American helped to add to the air of nonsense around him all, didn't it?
Yeah.
So I do think you're
weird,
right there.
isn't it?
It's like, if you're from America, you can't know what you're on about. When obviously, of course you can.
I mean, obviously, and Ted Lasso teaches us that.
yeah.
And
I mean,
if you watched it, I haven't watched it. I'm sure it
this
does.
sounds like like a story of Ted Lasso
But
that
this is
got
what I mean.
rejected.
Yeah.
They get a 78-year-old coach into open run. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That'd never happen. Come on, stretching the bounds of reality too much. Get involved in the chat and comment before we wrap up. Cillian Wallace says, "Ooh, Aidan, do you know what you're worth? Ooh, Evan, best defender on earth." So he's had a little twist to yours. Yomi Nelson says, "As a former TNF runner, I will say we do have a few players that's form is horrid. For example, Cobby's form could be improved.
I agree, actually.
And that could help him cover ground. Love Cobby, just an observation. I remember reading Norman Whiteside's book, Determined, and he was saying how they were going to get a sprinter in to help him, an American sprinter, to help him with the way he ran. Because he lost pace because of a treatment he had, where basically a physio treated him like a mound of dough and bent all his legs and everything, and he's popped. Honestly, when he was like 15, he had an issue, and he went to this physio, and this physio treated him by messing up, like bending his legs, and his hip was a bit funny after that, and he lost a bit of pace.
What?
It's mental. You need to read the book, and that's what Fergie said. He's the most talented player he'd ever seen, but he just didn't have that bit of pace that would have made him unreal.
Yeah.
And that was probably because of it. But anyway, the point is, they were going to get in I think they got a sprint coach in to work with him about the way he ran to try and get a bit more speed out of him.
To be fair, it does make obviously you're not going to take someone from let's use Kobbie Mainoo as an example. Let's say right now he can run 100 metres in 12 and a half seconds or 13, whatever, it doesn't matter. You could maybe knock half a second off that, or 2/3 of a second off his first 20 metres, changing the way he pushes off or the way he pumps his. Obviously, you don't want to turn people into sprinters because you have to run differently in sport than you do in sprinting anyway. But if you can shave off half a second over 50 metres, that would be worthwhile. That's not something to turn your nose up at, because that could be the difference of, when you're going shoulder to shoulder, you're slightly in front of them or you're slightly behind them and they can step across you. It might help you occasionally. There's no reason to, we've laughed a bit because the story is a bit preposterous and I've never really seen this before. But if we can make our players even remotely faster for a few weeks' work, why wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? It does make sense.
Yeah, listen, teams bring in all sorts of different coaches, don't they? Yeah. Remember when, was it Liverpool brought in a throwing coach or something to help with get a little bit more out of throw-ins, and people scoffed at that, but it's like anything you can do to give you a bit of an advantage. The reason this comes across as slightly comical is because of this guy's age. Let's have it right.
And he looks cool as hell, doesn't he? He should be drinking little mimosas on his boat in a lake somewhere in Michigan. It
all adds to the air of Manchester United is just a farce.
Yeah.
But hopefully Mara will do really well. Listen, big thank you to Ethan and Ben. Absolutely
some of the greatest puns of all time.
Is this it tonight? Have we got any more? Oh, sorry.
It's not bad either, is it?
From 0 to 0.
It's not bad.
It's all right. You know what? Yeah, it's fine. That
yeah.
It's good. It's good. I was worried you might have got carried away and then tried to end with a flourish, but you've done well. Yeah,
we've done really well.
Go on.
Amram has given Casemiro's United career the kiss of death after saying he can no longer cope in the Premier League. Amram said, sometimes it's a lot of that. It's also a player's movement. We understand that Casemiro has other things nowadays, the intelligence he has, understanding the game, understanding where the ball is going to fall. But we're in a league that I can see, even in European competitions, the difference in intensity is big. And so I feel that this team also needs players with a very high intensity, and sometimes we don't have that. And sometimes that difference in characteristic can lead one player or another player to play. I need some players in certain positions with a slightly different pace, but we all know the quality Casemiro has and everything he won. The fact he's playing Toby Collier over him just says it all to me. I don't need to read any more into it than that. You've got a player who is one of the greatest of all time in his position, has won everything, has got the technical ability, can read the game fantastically, and you've got a very inexperienced kid who's coming through the academy making his first steps in professional football, but he's more athletic, he's more physically gifted, can run around and do more. And I'm not saying that all Toby Collier is lungs on legs, but when you look at the two different characteristics, they're completely different, and he wants this. So Casemiro will leave Man United the next time a club wants him, I think. I don't think there's any reason for him to stay, and it's clear I don't think Amram wants him to stay personally.
No, he doesn't. I think, I imagine him and Amram have had a proper chat about this, because he's not getting any minutes, is he?
No, I think he's been on the bench and not come on 6 times in a row now.
Yeah, and like you say, Collier's getting minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like they've had any fallout. I was watching Casemiro when he was warming up the other week, and he was still chatting to people that are playing. He seems to be giving a little bit of advice. So the point I'm getting from that is it doesn't seem like he's spat his dummy out in any way. You still feel like he's sort of accepted his role in the squad now. He's just a bit part player. Obviously, Amram has the advantage of he didn't buy Casemiro. No. He's not a player who went, I brought him in. Also, he's not the one that subbed him at half-time against Liverpool, which was a bit of a diss, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which obviously,
well, you said that was Ten Hag, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But that was
it's been ongoing.
Yeah,
yeah.
But you can even go back to the FA Cup final. All the rumours were he weren't injured. He just found out he wasn't going to be in the team and didn't fancy sitting on the bench. Was a bit annoyed.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we don't know, but it does kind of makes sense that that happened. So it is sad because that first sort of 6 or 7 months of him was unreal. The Carabao Cup final, fantastic performance, helps us end the trophy drought. And, you know, you can see personality-wise, he's the type of player you'd want to have around.
Yeah.
He's got all that experience. He's still got that desire, and in terms of, like, you can see him, the time he was having a go at Garnacho against Chelsea, you can see he's one of the few players that will do that. And it didn't feel like when Bruno gets a bit snappy, it felt like it was, like, for a reason. And, you know what I mean? Come on, you've got to do better. But his legs just aren't up to it. And this is what the manager's saying. And I think Casemiro's got to have enough self-awareness to know, you know, he's going against, when he does play or when he has played, he's going against midfielders that are far inferior to him in terms of ability. And sometimes they're just getting past him too easily. Yeah. So it is sad the way it's sort of fizzling out. But at least it doesn't feel like there's any kick-off or fallout here. It'd just be good to get him off the wages, because at the moment we've got someone who's 300k to, you know, chat on the sidelines. I mean, that's not what he's here for. No. So we need to get him off the books.
I mean, you look through the top players in the Premier League in that position, none of them are in their 30s, or very few of them in their 30s. Like, in terms of holding midfielders or central midfielders, De Bruyne is kind of an exception, but City are struggling partly because they haven't got much legs knocking about. But like Arsenal's midfielders are all younger, Chelsea's are all younger, Liverpool's are all younger. It's really hard to be a Premier League starting number 8 in your 30s these days. It's just too fast, it's too physical. It doesn't really happen as much anymore. And Casemiro was never massively quick, but when you lose half a yard on that, the Premier League isn't the league to go to. If you leave in Spain, don't go to a quicker league, or a league where you need to run more.
Do you remember that first season, though, Joe? He had it in his locker to, I know this sounds ridiculous, but to sprint when he needed to.
Yeah.
I remember when it was at Barca, at the new camp, and there was a situation where I think they broke, and he sprinted and got over there and dealt with it. Yeah. And I even feel like that now has become like...
No, he don't really sprint anymore.
You don't see him that often, like really busting up and getting there. And also he's done this thing where he's been doing it for like the last year or so, where he dives in quite early.
Because that's because he's scared.
Yeah.
It's because he doesn't trust his legs to run alongside someone, keep pace and win the ball back. And that's a big problem. You can't do that because... Was it Elise?
No, it was Eze.
Eze, sorry, for Palace. Saw it come in. Just stopped, let him slide past, went and
visually that looks horrible.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you have... And Eze's not a top player, but top players in particular can exploit when you become predictable, when you become basically trying to cut a corner to make up for an inadequacy in your game. I'll slide in early, so that way if I win it, great, and if not, then I'll probably foul them and we can stop play. But I can't run alongside them because they'll do me. You can't really have that. You can't have that if you want to be a top team. So I think we can see, looking at where Amram has made sort of unusual decisions, because on paper, Collier versus Casemiro, there's only one winner and it's Casemiro, but when you want certain things, Collier becomes more exciting. When you look at left back as well, Luke Shaw, whenever he's played, I know he's not played a lot, isn't a left back, is it left centre back? We need legs in that position. The same for that number 10 area. He likes playing Mainu as a holding player because maybe he doesn't quite have the legs in there. So I think we can see what Amram wants and what he needs, and it's athletic players with legs who can run up and down all day, and that's what modern football is. It kind of goes in waves, doesn't it? Like in the 90s, it was people wanted a bit more sort of physicality and size, and then it became, no, you want these small technical players. That was the kind of, Wenger kind of idea, theoretically. And then it goes back up and down, and now it's, you want giants again. Like that seemed old-fashioned 2 or 3 years ago, and then everyone wants 4 centre-backs and athletes rather than these technical players. So football goes in waves, but at the minute Casemiro just looks like he's out of sync at Man United, doesn't he?
Yeah, it does. It's a bit sad to see because he's been such a great player, mainly for Real Madrid, if we're being honest, obviously. But he'll get a move, won't he? He's on big dough, so you can't feel too sorry for him.
No.
Is that your lot?
It's everything.
Thank you to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments. If you're not doing so, make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Loads of content on the channel that you need to check out. Check out Joe and Stephen Alson talking about Dorgu.
Dorgu, yeah.
Yes, Dorgu.
Yeah, so that went out earlier today.
Yeah,
make sure to check that.
That's up there.
In the morning we've got loads as well. We've got the preview and we've got a little piece on Rasmus Højlund as well. Why it's not working for him at the minute at Manchester United. Is it his fault? Is it the club's fault? Is it the players around him's fault? Go through all of that and look at sort of basically what's gone wrong or what's going wrong with Rasmus Højlund. That's coming out tomorrow as well. Check that before the watch along.
Yeah, looking forward to watching that one. We'll be back tomorrow evening, won't we?
Yep.
Here for the watch along. So make sure you're subscribing to that. Manchester United taking on the mighty FC SB over in Bucharest. Get a win, go through. Pretty much, innit?
Success.
That's all good, you know what I mean? There's no dramas there. We just don't want that playoff game. That's been Joe Smith. Go and check him out on the Slobby Joe's podcast. I'm Jay Moy. This has been Transfers Live. Big shout out to the boys from some excellent puns.
Top-notch stuff tonight.
Thanks for watching.